Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my update to my Cardfight Vanguard Oselargest deck profile for post-Omniscient Awakening. Big thanks to my buddy Anthony for letting me borrow his Oselargest deck for the video. This is one of the 6 start decks that we got a while back when the Cardfight Vanguard Divine series started to show off the power of the energy generator. So this deck focuses on making use for the energy blast ability for a good majority of your skills in the deck, and being the Dark States deck that focuses on it, it also focuses on setting up a good amount of soul in your Vanguard to be able to utilize call out abilities from the soul and plenty of other skills as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Ride deck. For starters, we have the energy generator. He has the energy counter for this deck, not the actual generator, just because he has them split throughout a bunch of different decks, with our starter being the Cavity Militia. When wrote upon, if you want second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is featuring a Balancer. When wrote upon by Steam Trimmer Nepugador. With this card, Soul Charge 2, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets +5 till end of turn. And on rearguard during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest in its card name, this unit gets +5 power. So the standard power up, but also setting up more and more cards in your soul with an easy Soul Charge 2. The 1 copy for the grade 2, Steam Trimmer Nepugador. When wrote upon by a grade 3 with Oselargest in its card name, if your soul has 4 or more cards, draw a card. So with the Soul Charge 2 from your grade 1, this is easy to achieve as well. And it also gets +10 shield if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest when it's placed on the guard circle. With our grade 3 being Cruel Beast Demonic Lord Oselargest, along with the copy we run in the Ride deck. We're running 3 additional copies in the main deck as well, because the main focus of the deck is the Persona Ride power. On the Vanguard, once per turn, you can counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same name as this unit, reveal it and put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck, and this unit gets +10 till end of turn. So then you'll have a guaranteed Persona Ride for the following turn. And on the Vanguard, when this unit attacks, a Vanguard, Energy Blast 4, choose a grade 3 or less card from your soul, call it to rear, and it gets +10. So having the additional attack for that unit being the one that you called out with this card to soul for the cost of just an Energy Blast 4. Because as I said before, the big part of this deck is making use for your Energy Blast abilities. We're also running 4 copies for the other grade 3s of Steam Artist Tilligan. There is a good number of cards in the deck that also work in tandem with this backup grade 3 for the deck. When it's put into soul from rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest in its card name, soul blast 2 cards with different card names from this card and draw a card. So when this card returns to the soul, you give the option for your draw power. And when it attacks, you can soul blast 1, and this unit gets +5 till end of battle. If a grade 3 card with Oselargest was soul blast, it gets +15 instead. So an added power boost if you Persona Ride and have the other Oselargest in your soul to be able to soul blast for this grade 3. For the grade 2s, we are running the 3 copies of Skillful Entertainer. With this card, when it's placed on rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest, counterblast 1, choose 3 cards from your drop, and put them into your soul. More soul build-up power in the form of just a grade 2, making use of the counterblast ability. The 3 copies of Full Pigment Dragon. When this unit attacks, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest in its card name, counterblast 1, put another front row rear guard into the soul, and draw a card. Putting it back into the soul to make use of other soul buildup is what this card can also do. I'd say the biggest weakness of this deck, obviously, is the counterblast power, but we are running the 3 copies of Selfish Engraver to make up for it. With this card on rearguard, when an attack hits, you soul charge 1. So it can even hit a rearguard to give you the soul charge power. And on rearguard at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, if your soul has 10 or more cards, put this unit in the soul and countercharge 1. So this is the countercharge power, while also being able to make up for some of the soul buildup that this card can provide as well. For the grade 1s, we're running 4 copies of Dangerous Thrower. When this unit's placed on rear, choose a grade 3 card with Oselargest in its card name from your drop. You may put it on the bottom of the deck if you chose a card. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 card with Tilligan in its card name from among them. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle the deck, giving you search power for the backup grade 3 while being able to recycle your Persona Ride unit as well. And the big part of this deck is also just being able to reuse the Persona Ride multiple times over. So using cards like Dangerous Thrower to recycle that card while giving you access to your needed grade 3 is a big part of what the deck can do also. We're also running the 4 copies of Steam Performer Tudia. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If your unit was placed on rear from soul this turn, retire this unit. Choose a grade 3 or greater card with Oselargest card name from your soul or drop. Put it on the bottom of the deck. If you chose a card, put one of any player's rear guards and put it into the soul. Being able to take away one of your opponent's rear guards by placing it into the soul is another big help with this deck, just because it takes away another resource for your opponent by using this card as another recycle power for Oselargest as well. From the Omniscient Awakening set, we're running 3 copies of Squish Compressor on the rearguard or guard circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest and its card name, this unit gets Intercept. It can intercept from the back row, and it gets Shield +5. So another good grade 1 booster for the fact that it gets the +5 shield, and being able to intercept from the back row gives you a 10k guard. And I would say, hand consistency for the guard power is a big thing that this deck needed, and they made up with that with the added grade 1 support that all of the different start decks got from the latest booster set, being the setup for your guard power and the additional intercept power from the back row. We're also running 3 copies of the new promo, the Haughty Peerage, from the drop. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Oselargest and its card name is placed during your ride phase, if you do not have a rear guard with the same card as this card, Soul Blast 1, call this card to rear. If you called a card, Energy Charge 1, making up for your Energy Charge. But I would say the only thing I really use for the Energy Charge in this deck is for the Energy Blast 4 of your Oselargest Vanguard. But in being able to make use of this card's Energy Charge 1 can set up more use for you to then also have the Energy Blast 7 ability of your Energy Generator to draw a card. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted a unit with Tilligan in its card name. Put 2 rear guards in the same column as this unit into the soul. Draw a card. Choose a card from your drop and put it in the soul. More build up as well. So you put this card and the Tilligan back into the soul. And then from there, you also have the option to then reuse your Tilligan, because when it's put from the rear guard and soul, having the Soul Blast for an additional draw power since you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Oselargest and its card name. If you didn't want or didn't have the Haughty Peerage to run, you can run 1 additional copy of each of the Full Pigment Dragon, the Skillful Entertainer, and the Selfish Engraver for all additional spots that can be put in for that grade 1. With the last of the grade 1s being the 4 copies of Ridicule Disruptor, just the Sentinel of choice to run in the deck. If you want to run Elementary Sanctitude, you can always drop down 1 Ridicule Disruptor for a copy of that Blitz Order. And then for the trigger lineup, I would say strong power comes in the form of the front row buildup. So we're running 5 copies of the front trigger. We're running a rainbow lineup in total, but the front trigger definitely does help just for added pressure with your rear guard attacks. With the next trigger being 3 copies of the critical, because then you just have more of the pressure that your opponent could potentially no guard and then hit this trigger, with the next one being the draw. 3 copies. If you had any of the ability triggers, you can replace them for any of these spots in the deck, with our heal being the 4 Joyful Songster and our over trigger being the Gamalgahal, because the earlier we reveal this card, the better chance for an added pressure attack with your Vanguard each turn also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, this is one of the start decks. If there's another one that you're requesting that I do next for updates with all the promos and new support cards we've gotten up to Omniscient Awakening, definitely do let me know down below. And until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.